The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all. Oh, we are back. Yes, indeedy. Lemon squeezy.
For certain values of back.
Let's see how long this lasts tonight. Let's see how long my Netflix takes to crash for the zillionth time.
Yeah, Netflix has not really been ready for this one. It's there've been buffering issues. There's been a lot of that.
There's been outages. Yeah, I had to. It's funny. I've been juggling screens. Like I would go from my phone to my TV, which is working off a Roku box, to my computer. Like just trying to figure out. I had Jonas stand on the top of the roof with rabbit ears.
Well, not to advocate for the following, but for any combat sports event, I guarantee you can find some guy from Bulgaria streaming this in seamless 1080p.
Let's see.
Illegally, but it's always there. There's always some streamer who is better at this than the people you're paying for it.
Yeah, well, I think I came across at least 2 sites that tried to give my Apple phone a virus, which did not work out well for them. Apple doesn't do viruses, but yeah, it's currently working on my TV. Knock on wood. If you just see me throw my headphones, you'll know why, folks. I am your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm very tired. Mr. Mark
You
Radulich.
look it. You look tired.
It's been a long 2 years. Boy, it's been a long week. Lemon, it's only Tuesday. Mr. Mark Radulich, frankly, I'm so tired. And joining me tonight is my brother from another mother, the co-host of Damn You Hollywood, the host of the 401 Ground and Pound radio show, and the man who is permanently on deck when I call on him. He is my private dancer and my personal hero. He will always be there when I need him. And tonight he's stepping in for my son, who fucked off. My son's like, I'm 10. It's midnight. No, I'm going to bed now. The daughter,
he's not wrong.
Yeah, I think the daughter fucked off about the time that Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor match started. So, anyway, here he is, folks. Robert Winfree. How do you do, sir?
Oh, doing all right. I'm here for the depression because this is going to be sad.
Yeah. By the way, I've already frozen up. This is going to be fantastic.
Well, Mike's making his way to the ring, so you're not missing anything yet.
And that's what we're talking about tonight. We are doing Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, the marketing event to show off Netflix's ability to delve into, as Amazon Prime has, the live sports arena. As Raw comes to Netflix, I think in the new year, and
January,
as they continue to expand into live sports, Netflix is here with the lagging and the outages and the inability to put on this event.
Yeah, they are struggling. This has not been a smooth production from the technical side of things for Netflix. And part of me wants to give them a little bit of a break. Like, Okay, you know what? You didn't jump in with like the Super Bowl here. You didn't jump in with a big Monday night football game, right? In theory, a boxing match is, it's going to draw traffic, but you can kind of stress test.
Right.
Unfortunately for them, they decided that we'll stress test with Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, and this is the only fight in boxing that will get casuals like Mark to come out of retirement and watch a fight.
I mean, I look. I know you like to abuse me. It gives you
So
such
I
joy.
shouldn't have said you.
But like,
Hang on. Who's our good puncher? Okay, Ronnie. We punch Ronnie a lot, right?
punching Ronnie is like punching down. Um, Here's what I'll tell you. It brought casuals from everywhere. People who don't watch
Oh yeah,
boxing are watching it.
people
I
who have
work in an
never
office.
watched people who haven't watched a boxing match since Tyson was champion are watching this.
People who've never watched a boxing match before. I work in an office full of 20 to 30, mid 20 to mid 30-year-old African American women, and they all knew about this.
Yeah,
Like people. It's so funny. As I was leaving the office, and I actually had one woman go, "Yo, people be watching this Jake Paul fight." Yes, that is in fact why Netflix got involved with this, because people be watching Jake Paul.
yeah. So unfortunately for Netflix, they did not get a softer rollout. They did not get a soft launch of how do we do with the live streaming of the sports. And when it seems like most of the more people are watching this than voted in the last election,
Though
we actually had good
there were,
turnout for the
let's
last
put it this way,
election.
there are definitely more Democrats watching this than voted in the last election, but that's a story for another day.
That remains to be seen.
Anywho, so that's what we're doing tonight. Jake Paul has been boxing, I think, since 2020.
A
He's
little
got just
earlier than that, but yeah, right about there.
he started with some
With the Nate
unpronounceable
Robinson
rapper
fight,
name.
right?
No, it was Andy Anson Gibb.
Oh, Anisan Gibb, yes.
Yeah, that was January 30th of 2020. He won by
Yeah,
TKO in the first round. Then he killed Nate Robinson, killed him dead.
killed him dead.
Nate Robinson hit that canvas, and flowers and a tombstone came up.
Yep.
This
You
was
could
that was
see the angel playing a harp float out of his body.
that was a rough fight. That was November 20th or 28th of 2020. He knocked out Funky Ben Askren in 2021 in the
Yes, he
first
did.
round. He went to a split decision with Tyrone Woodley.
That fight
Uh,
was not very good. Then
no,
they
it was
rematched,
not.
and that fight sucked until he knocked Tyron Woodley stone dead.
Yeah, he went to a unanimous decision with Anderson Silva. And here's the point that I'm going to make. I'm going to skip this one and go to. He continued his tour of broken down MMA fighters on August 5th of 2023 when he unanimous decisioned with Nate Diaz. Then he
Yes, he did.
KO'd. Then he KO'd local Orlando tomato can Andre August in the first round, December 15th of 2023. And then he found another tomato can that he KO'd in the first round of March 2nd, 2024. And then he actually had a quasi competitive fight with bare knuckle fighter and former MMA fighter Mike Perry, where he TKO'd him in the sixth. Now, let's go through this one more time. Rapper, basketball player, MMA fighter, MMA fighter, MMA fighter, MMA fighter, tomato can, MMA fighter / bare knuckle. The one loss he has on his record is Tommy Fury, younger brother of former unified world lineal heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. More on that next month when he rematches with Alexander Usyk. And he
In
won a split.
fairness, Paul probably should have won that fight.
My point is, and this is what I said to Pat earlier when I was like, who should I bet on? I'm thinking Tyson by decision, and I'm gonna
Okay,
hang on.
no.
Hang on. Stop. Let me host my show. Okay. I
Tell
went to
your
Pat.
story.
Thank you. Thank you. I went to Pat, and for his betting advice, which is pretty sound for the most part. I said, "Hey, what do you?" I'm thinking Tyson by decision, and he went, "No way, he's 60. Paul's, young. He's been boxing." I'm like, Paul lost to the only boxer he ever fought. Everybody else has either been nonsense or a broken down MMA fighter. And Mike Tyson was the former heavyweight champion of the world. And oh, by the way, a few years ago, at the very least, showed up and still won against poor old sad sack Roy Jones Jr. And he
Okay,
said, "No, Mark, no. Now tag in."
So, you're right. Mike Tyson was the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world before Jake Paul was born.
Yes.
I'm not here to advocate for Jake Paul as a human being, or Mike Tyson for that matter, but he's 58. He is 37 years older, or 31. It's north of 30. I forget the exact math. Like, that's me almost. He's almost a me. There's a me between these two guys.
Boy,
Here's what Jake Paul is, man.
Talk about a threesome you didn't want to be in, and you walked into that one. I'm not taking it back.
Fair enough. Jake Paul is the king of sandbagging. He is the king of making you think he's going to lose. Oh, Tyron Woodley's a legitimate fighter. Tyron Woodley, welterweight champion of the world in UFC. Got a good punch. He'll take this guy out. He's a YouTuber. Nope. Okay, Anderson Silva might be old, but he won a couple of boxing matches, and he's still Anderson Silva, right? Nope. Okay, Nate Diaz is a kind of a clown, but it's Nate Diaz. Like, you can hit that guy with a baseball bat and he won't fall over. And if it goes longer, it goes he's got the boxing, right? No, his boxing trainer is not all that good, and Jake Paul is serious about this.
Hey, real quick, did Nate Diaz go to a decision with GSP, or did that end in a finish?
You're thinking of Nick, not
No,
Nate.
but didn't Nate Diaz and GSP also fight?
No.
Okay, keep going.
Nate's title shot was at lightweight, not welterweight.
Okay.
And Nick had nothing for GSP, but that's not surprising.
Well, okay, but it's fine.
But,
oh God,
okay.
I'm having them backwards. Never mind. Stricken from the record, Your Honor. I was literally confusing Nick with Nate.
And here we go. Fight started.
Okay, I think you're like you're a couple of seconds ahead of me.
Probably a little. Tyson is trying to bull rush Paul. It's not going well.
Okay, you're way ahead of me because they're still getting referee instructions about don't hit each other below the belt.
Okay.
On mine, and I don't want to fuck with my TV because God knows
that's fair.
Happen.
That's fair. Look, normally I'm a little bit behind you, so this will be interesting for me.
Sweet.
Paul already with our first clinch, which is not surprising. Both men looking for the jab. Tyson still got the fast hands. Look, here's the other reason you got to favor Jake in this. 14-ounce gloves and 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
Like, that's all here to help Jake Paul. And Tyson's going to be dangerous for stretches of this. That's not in dispute, but he doesn't have, like, he's not going to be there for 8 rounds of this. He's going to fall apart physically down the stretch.
We talked about how this was a casual attraction. This is a marketing event to let the world know Netflix is getting into the live event space.
Yeah, that's what a lot of it is.
Amazon has already been doing it. They've been doing boxing matches. Peacock's been doing it. Peacock was out of the gate with the Olympics and WWE. But
Peacock also does does soccer. Does a lot of the European leagues and whatnot, which is a big traffic drawer in theory.
So
right hand from Jake.
Point that I was getting to is you call the action, and I'm just going to let you do the calls tonight because I'm too far behind you. I'll react when there's something to react to. But one of the things that, as I walked around work today and I was talking to a lot of the deputies that I work with, the phrase, nobody wins in this marketing event. Nobody wins. Nobody comes out of this ahead. If Jake Paul wins, he knocked out an old man that he shouldn't have been in the ring with in the first place. And if Mike Tyson wins, if Mike Tyson wins, he knocked out a YouTuber.
Okay, Jake. In fairness to that, Jake Paul has grown beyond the YouTuber label at this point.
Normally I'm the one making that argument, but here's the thing: when the only 3 boxers you have on your record are 2 part-time tomato cans, and the one guy, you still couldn't beat, and it took you like 3 tries to get him in the ring. I'll be the first one to say, give Jake Paul respect. He is trying to take this seriously. It's not his attempt at boxing I have issues with. It's his choice of opponents. At some point, you have to start fighting real people.
Well, that depends on what your goal is.
That's fair.
Okay, this is about money.
Well,
Jake
it's
Paul.
not always.
Well, hang on. Jake Paul is fighting people who maximize his payday.
Hmm.
Like he could have fought not even necessarily a ranked guy in and around this weight class for a tenth of what he's getting to fight Mike Tyson. Which of those propositions sounds better to you?
Well, my favorite thing is, I feel like in I feel like he's been calling out Canelo as of late.
He's
Like
been
after,
doing that for a while.
yeah. And I'll tell you what, I think Canelo would give him that fight because at this point,
He can't. Hang on,
Canelo
he
only
can't
wants.
right now, but he will. If
Well,
Jake knocks out Tyson, I do think the Canelo fight ultimately materializes. And I think at that point, Canelo gives Jake Paul broken ribs and more head trauma than he knows what to do with.
oh yeah, Jake
The
Paul's not
skill
getting out.
differential there is it's insurmountable.
Yeah, in that fight, Canelo will be Mark Hunt, and he'll decide when it's over. So what's happening in this
Pretty much.
fight?
I mean, never mind that he always decides when a fight's over
All right,
because, he calls in the judges.
all right. So Jake
Yeah,
Paul
you
made
can
it out of the
already see.
Jake Paul made it all out of the first round here. We've been talking, and I've had to reset my TV at least once. So what happened in that first round?
Uh, Unofficial scorecard gave it to Tyson. I can see that. Both men trying to get the jab going. Tyson already slowing. Now, Jake's weaponry is he's got power, but his delivery system is not the best. But you can see Tyson already. He's not moving all that well. He's got bursts of energy and mobility, but he can't sustain it.
All right. So we have people watching on our various Facebook pages and YouTube and Twitch, to which I say thank you for. There's a million people doing the same exact thing we're
Oh
doing
yeah.
tonight. You chose to watch ours, so we appreciate you. Thank you. We have a comment section. Feel free to ask questions. We'll answer you as best we can. All right, we are into round two.
Well, round two just ended.
You are so far ahead of me, at least 2 minutes.
Round two, another closer round. Neither of these guys is landing a lot consistently. They'll probably go two to Tyson again, but you can see the wheels starting to come off a little bit. Jake's probably going to start pouring it on rounds like 4, 5, 6 is when I imagine he's really going to start getting into gear.
So I'm watching round two as it's happening on my TV, and again, we have a 2 minute lag between the two of us. And one of the things I'm liking about Jake Paul's performance tonight is he's not going toe to toe with Mike Tyson.
No, he's actually fighting pretty smart.
Yeah, he's using his footwork. He's staying bouncy. He's looking for an opportunity to land a jab or two, and I think that's smart because if he can accumulate punches over the course of the 8 rounds, that's going to be better than trying to go toe to toe with Tyson. And you
Ooh.
really don't know how much of a chin Tyson has. I mean, granted, it's been a zillion outside of the Roy Jones fight. It's been a zillion years since Lennox Lewis. Maybe he
Ooh,
can take a
there's a
punch.
left
Maybe
hook
he
from
can't.
Jake. Yeah, Tyson came out very aggressive to start the third, but that's really not sustainable at this point. Jake's starting to land. Oh, Tyson's wobbly. Man, that whole place is going to be so depressed if Jake knocks him out.
Yeah,
Oh, another left hand from Jake. Yeah, we're not much longer for this.
there is a contingent of people out there that definitely want to see people beat the living snot out of Jake Paul. He is. I'll tell you what. If you look through the annals of pro wrestling, right now the biggest heel in the world of sports entertainment is Jake Paul.
Logan.
No, Jake, because
Jake's not a wrestler.
no, but I'm in terms of heels and people wanting people paying money to see the heel get his comeuppance. Jake
Okay.
Paul. People are. I mean, they fill the stadium to see Mike
They
Tyson
did.
knock this guy's head off. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He is the Ric Flair of sports entertainment today. This is a
Well, you mean
guy
sports, not
making his
sports
way around
entertainment.
to different. But it is sports entertainment. I mean, you're taking
It's
me
a
in
sporting
that literal
contest, not a
way,
choreographed event.
right? And that's what I'm saying.
And it's
You're applying that definition to it. I'm going back to what I said before. This is a marketing event. It's entertainment. It's a sports entertainment. It's a legitimate sports entertainment. By the way, have you seen the stupid Facebook thing that's going around of the script of this fight leaked?
No, and frankly, I don't. Look, Jake's kind of carrying Mike a little bit at this point.
Sure.
Um,
People pay good money to see this. They want to see a show. They don't want to see Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos be over in 10 seconds.
well, counterpoint. That was pretty awesome for 60 seconds.
Yeah, I like watching Dana White cry.
That's always a good time.
I don't know,
Yeah, third round over. Third round pretty easily goes to Paul. Yeah, Mike
Yeah,
is not looking great.
yeah, I'm watching it now. Mike's footwork is off. It's funny. So Pat and I did the year long, almost 2 years of the history of heavyweight boxing, and we did an entire chapter dedicated to Mike Tyson. And one of the things that we talked about was his balance, his footwork, his swivel hips. For a shorter than the average heavyweight fighter, he
He's given up reach to Jake Paul here. Like
yeah, but he used his size and his body shape to his advantage. Plus, he had some of the best footwork in the history of heavyweight boxing. That's all gone now. I'm watching round 3 as I'm saying that.
Yeah, round 4 just about to start. And yeah, again, Mike's got a good 15, 20 seconds at the start of this round, and then it's going to fall apart again.
Mike Tyson kind of resembles late stage George Foreman right now.
Yeah, that thought occurred to me as well. And Paul is just he's being smart about it. He's still cognizant of getting hit.
Sure. Look,
so he's not going to.
Mike Tyson, I mean, you don't want to test yourself against Mike Tyson's power punch.
That is very true. So he's still trying to fight smart as I'm looking into the 4th round here, which may or may not be the future for some of you.
Some of you may still be on Katie Serrano versus Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano.
Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, Jake's left hand is starting to land a little bit more consistently. Tyson, he's always been a bit square, but he's very square now.
So I'm watching the in between. We're in Mike Tyson's corner.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be there.
He does not look like he's especially enthused about being part of this fist fight.
Yeah,
and he's slipping a lot of Jake's offerings, especially one or two single shots, because Jake's not a big combination puncher. Mm-hmm. But when Jake does tack a 3rd or a 4th onto that, that's when he's starting to land because Tyson just can't read it. He's going on programming at this point. And this is going to have something real bad happen in the next couple of rounds would be my guess.
Going into this fight, I was really curious to see if Tyson still had his hand speed.
For about 2 minutes, he does. If you look at some of his flurries in that first round, it's not prime, but he's 58 years old or whatever. It's going to have diminished a bit, but the problem with Tyson is that it's not sustainable.
Okay. So on mine, I'm in round 4 of 8, and they've got it. I think it's Tyson to Jake Paul 29-28.
Two could kind of go either way for me. Might be 2-2 coming out of the 4th. We're at the point where Mike Tyson is not going to win rounds after he was not really throwing back a whole lot in the 4th.
Yeah,
and even with a lower output like Jake has, he's winning the rounds.
Yeah, I'm watching it now, and Jake Paul's kind of doing what Anthony Joshua did again in the second Andy Ruiz fight. He's keeping the distance. He's moving in, throwing a combination of jabs and straights, and moving away again. And Tyson doesn't have the body speed anymore to keep up with him.
Yeah, a little bit. I saw the comparison be made to Mayweather McGregor.
Yeah.
If you watch that fight and you actually see what's going on, Floyd's carrying Conor. So that can go longer. Floyd barely trained for that fight because Conor's not a boxer. And then he just kind of went, okay, let's see what you got. And you drown very quickly. And then ultimately did get him out of there. Oh, right hand from Paul. Yeah, this is missed that one, but did land the left hook. Oh, there's a left hook from Jake. Yeah, Tyson's defense, his chin still seems to be mostly there. Like he's getting hit a few times and is not really being wobbled, but his defense is just the only thing holding up Jake's offensive output is Jake's decision at this point. Like if he really wanted to, he could go in there and okay, let's throw a few, and then be cognizant of Tyson throwing the left hook back at you, but he doesn't have much more than that.
Here's the other thing about Jake Paul.
Body jab,
There's
left hook,
no
trade left
upside.
hook.
There's no upside to knocking out Mike Tyson, other than the obvious. You've knocked out an octogenarian. He wants.
Here's the upside.
No, hang on. If your whole thing is celebrity sports contest entertainment fights, anything to to get a bigger payday, make your queue bigger, then you want to make this look appealing to other people who might want to do this with you. And if you just straight abuse the guy, no one's going to want to. It's the old Scott Kachowski. That's a bad fight for me. Okay. So Jake Paul has to, and I'll tell you this, I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Jake Paul is fighting this fight like a guy who knows I can't get too crazy in there. No one will want to do this with me anymore, but I can't get too stupid. I'll fuck myself up and lose.
Yeah, he's trying to thread that needle, and
he's doing a good job of it.
It's doing okay. It's getting to the point where he really. Here's the thing, though. He also doesn't want to go the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do want the late stoppage. You probably just don't want to make everyone too depressed. So you get a good flurry going, and then you get the ref to step in rather than just knocking Mike Tyson out cold.
Yeah. You want to get to the point where the ref has to save Tyson,
or the corner throws in the towel, or some kind of physical thing like that. Like that's really kind of what you're after. But again, the benefit to Jake Paul is this is the most watched fight all year. Like this is gonna be the biggest fight of 2024, boxing or MMA would be my hunch.
Yeah. Like I said before, people who don't watch boxing, people who have no interest in boxing, people didn't even know boxing was still around, are at least tacitly aware of this fight and watching it with their boyfriend currently.
Or, young, like if this had gone on at a reasonable time, all the 8 to 12-year-olds would be watching this.
Yes, my kids would be here
if it hadn't started at midnight.
I'll tell you what, when I saw the thing about it'll start at 11:30, and I'm like, okay, well, I figured it's a 4-fight card starting at 8 o'clock. This thing has to start at 11. And then and then we're going. And I'm like, all right, it's going to start at 11:30. And 11:30 comes around. I was like, all right, we'll be back in a half an hour. And I almost threw my computer through the window. I was so mad.
Yeah, there's a right hand from Paul. Yeah, this also does kind of feel like a sparring match a little bit at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious if Jake's going to try and go through the gears a little bit and get something really going. Or if he's going to be content with doing this, because you do want, as I mentioned, you don't want to go the distance with this guy.
No, I think what you said is accurate. I think we're gonna get to round 8, and then he's going to let his hands go, and then they're either going to throw the towel in or the ref's going to save Tyson. But I think he's got to get to round 8 first. We can't put the cart before the horse.
Well, 7 would be acceptable too, I think, as we're coming down the stretch for 8.
I don't know, man. People paid a lot of money to fill up this stadium. I think it behooves Jake to take this to the 8th round.
With 2-minute rounds, 7 or 8's no real difference to me, to most people, I think. Here's the other thing, though, and again, we touched on this briefly. These are 14-ounce gloves, and these are 2-minute rounds. If Jake does get what he wants, if he says, I want to fight Canelo, but he's, the big red chicken, he's ducking me, which is probably something like what he'll say.
Yeah, sure.
If Canelo bites on that, and he might, because that's easy money for him.
Sure.
Jake gets none of these considerations.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be in 10-ounce gloves. It's going to be 3-minute rounds, and he's going to hurt you.
Here's the thing. Do they do that? Jake fights at light heavyweight. Do they go? Does Canelo go up to light heavyweight, or he says, or does Jake say something truly insane and go, no, I want all your super middleweight belts.
Jake couldn't make 168.
Hmm.
They could probably work some kind of weight consideration out. That's not unless Jake wants the belts, which are again, he is not going to make that weight. Then it's just, hey, let's make up some range. We'll make up a range for that we're both comfortable with, and we'll figure it out. Like that's not the obstacle to this kind of fight. Like
Actually,
that's
the other thing to consider is I think Canelo wants another shot at Better Beef.
sort of. That's kind of dependent on how Beterbiev and cause we know we're getting Beterbiev and Bivol again, and Canelo can just resume ducking David Benavidez. Dude, his refusal to fight that guy is comical.
It's starting to resemble the Great White Hype, where at the end of it, I can't remember which comedian it was, but at the end of it, he just runs in the ring and knocks out the champion, and be like, all right, you know, enough with ducking me already. It's gonna be one of those moments where we're gonna get Jake Paul Canelo. Jake Paul's gonna get, much like in the Great White Hype, get knocked out in the first round, and then David Benavidez is gonna run in.
Yeah, he might. But I mean, here's the thing: Benavidez moved up to light heavyweight as well. Like, okay, if you want to make noise about doing this with Bivol again, tell you what, I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can't run from me, Canelo. Hi, it's Mia.
Dude. I'm not saying Canelo can't win that fight, but Benavidez is the boogeyman for that man for whatever reason.
All right, so let's tell the people what's going on, Robert, and I'm gonna let you do it, seeing as
We're in the last minute of the 7th, and Mike is still vertical, moving, but he's getting tagged a bit more. There's a decent-ish 1-2 from Jake, left hand to the body. It's just kind of at the point where if you deal with the first 10 seconds of a round, Tyson doesn't have much left after that. And Jake is just, there's a couple of punches that land. He's trying to feel him uppercut, left hook. Okay, yeah, Jake could, in theory, put together a string that might actually end this if he wants to, but he's still being, I think you're right. I think he's waiting for the 8th. Because we're going to get out of the 7th.
You don't give me the credit that I deserve, but I know people. I've seen people. I know people.
I would have been okay with that being in the 7th, but we're going to the 8th, and we'll see
You're
if...
not in there with Mike Tyson, my friend. So yeah, stop
no,
myself.
If I were in there, Mike probably would have got me out in the first round. I'm not...
The thing of it is there's so much entertainment psychology, and it's something I study. It's not even like a personality thing. It's a lot of this stuff is by the numbers.
And yeah, Mike, between getting ready for the last round, he looks less than stellar. For a man who literally showed his ass on this broadcast.
So my son's favorite part of the build-up to this, he had to tell me about it as soon as I came home tonight. I worked overtime, so I came home close to 8. And he was like, Father, he calls me Father. He says, Father, I saw the weigh-ins. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you. You're paying attention to boxing, Jonas, without my behest. Like, that's fantastic. Father, Mike Tyson grabbed his junk like he was shifting gears. Like that. Track.
After he slapped, and he slapped Jake Paul because Jake Paul stepped on his foot. And yeah, Mike went to the ceremonial weigh-ins in a G-string.
And adjusted himself accordingly.
And then, during the Serrano-Taylor fight, at one point, they cut away to an interview with Tyson in the room, and he's just wearing the cup, the jockstrap scenario. He turns around and walks away, and the cameraman just was not prepared for avoiding the shot of Mike Tyson's bare ass.
And here's a tasteful shot of me buttocks as Mike Tyson walks away.
Yeah, and okay, Jake's starting to land a bit more readily here as we are in the 8th.
I mean, he's running out of time. Now
Tyson's showing the left hook still, but if Jake wants the stoppage, it's theoretically possible. He's just got to be willing to really pull the trigger. Body shot from Jake. He resets way too much for this phase of the fight. He'll throw his couple of punches and then he'll back off like 3 steps and reset. If he wants to get this out of there, he needs to.
Doesn't that go to Jake's lack of
It's an
lack of
experience, not a
experience.
yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
all it is. This is a thing. This is a fixable thing,
Yeah,
but it's
this
very
is
obvious that's what he's doing at this
this
point.
is a thing that goes away when you've had 20 fights.
Yeah.
He's still he's fighting like a
Oh,
guy
right
who's
hand, left hook.
he's fighting like a guy who's still learning how to fight because you know what he
He
is.
is.
It's like there's no getting around that. You know, it's like
No,
because he has big time pay per view, fill up a stadium fight. People think Jake Paul is more experienced than he really is. He's not,
we are gonna go the
and I hate
distance,
to be the one.
barring some
Yeah,
last
I just
second
started round
heroic. Yeah, no, we're done.
8. Okay, but Tyson didn't flop, huh?
He did not. And Jake ultimately decided not to pull the trigger because he, in this kind of scenario, does not have that. Look, he hits hard enough to knock people out. He really does, but
Sean Wheelock's card had him 68-65 going into the 8th, by the way.
that's about right. You could give Tyson 1 and 2. Yeah, I don't think you could give him more than that.
Right. So at this point, it's elementary, my dear Watson. I believe Jake Paul's going to win this thing.
Yeah.
And let's when they call out the scores, just let me know. But let's kind of start to wrap here. I think the I think in terms of knowing what Netflix needs to do to get, you know, football, basketball, baseball, some other big time boxing event, something where the world will be watching, a WrestleMania maybe, they now know what they have to do, not this. And I don't mean this event. I mean fix your bandwidth problems.
Well, it seemed they seemed to get it. It got a little bit better as the event wore on. But yeah, a lot of this, if you're on the Netflix side of this, one, you're grateful for the traffic, but two, this is a lot of like real time stress testing and bug
Yeah.
fixing.
I mean, it could be worse. They could have made you pay extra for it. Then people would be pissed.
Yeah, the fact that this is just, hey, if you have Netflix and everybody has Netflix,
Right.
then here you go.
So I think it's a learning experience for them. Um, I actually, I mean, I would give this a C plus in terms of an experience
You're
for
being
Netflix.
a you're being a little bit generous.
No, I mean in terms of they did this. It looks nice. I mean, look, we have seen some truly trash presentations. Um, oh God, what was it that I covered with Bailey where they had it was like a Triller fight where they had Snoop Dogg on commentary and they were like
That would have
smoking
been a
pot on
Triller
the air.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember. I think that was either a Jake Paul or maybe it was the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. I don't remember which one anymore.
It would have been either Paul and Askren or Tyson and
Yeah,
RJJ.
but that looked like garbage.
Yeah, okay. So in terms of the event production, yeah, this looks like a legitimate fight. The hardware on the streaming side, like they have to figure some of that out.
That's why I gave them the C plus because I think okay, they know everything they did wrong now. They're not stupid. This is a multi-million-dollar company with a giant stock price.
Okay, hang on.
They're gonna fix it.
Right. Okay, we are about to get the scores read at some point in the very near future. So yeah, in theory they can fix that. I would be more C, leaning C minus than C plus, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think I'm wondering if they'll take a call with Amazon or Peacock or even ESPN. ESPN streams a lot of stuff. I mean, especially this year, because of the gambling that I was doing, I watched a lot of football. There's a lot of football going on at the same time. You know, Amazon did a really great job this year. I watched a lot of football on Amazon. During one of the hurricanes, I watched it on my iPad just on my data plan, and it worked just fine after a few resets. So I think, if you're smart and you're Netflix, take a call with Amazon and be like, all right, what did you guys do to fix this? How are you guys doing so well? Because I mean, everyone's watching football.
Yeah, okay, for the record, Jake Paul, unanimous decision. Two judges gave Mike Tyson only the first round. I missed a little bit of the other one. That one might have been a shutout for Jake, which I think is weird. I thought Tyson at least had the first. But yeah, Jake Paul wins, unanimous decision, no controversy there whatsoever. And the sad spectacle begins to wind down.
So, I don't think Mike Tyson takes any more fights. God, I hope not.
I would imagine not.
No, I think he got his name out there.
Look, man, Mike Tyson only threw 97 punches.
Mm-hmm.
He only landed 18.
Mike Tyson got a good payday. Mike Tyson got to be
Yes, he
in
did.
the cultural zeitgeist for at least a little bit. Jake Paul, got to say he beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah, this is really how does he describe it? Like he does a lot of pinch me stuff. Like, what can I do that makes me go, how is this real?
Yeah.
Like, is this really my life? Did I just box Mike Tyson?
I mean,
and
look,
win?
you and I can sit here and intellectualize and deconstruct this entire event. It's what we do. But at the end of the day, Jake Paul can now run around the world and say, I honest to God beat Mike Tyson. And nobody can take that away from him. So good for him. And Netflix learned what it takes to put on one of these events. And I think in that sense, this was on a pass-fail scale. It's pass. If anyone is looking at this going, but talk about the boxing, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, come on now. The boxing was the least important part of this.
So Jake puts over Mike in his post-fight interview, and we got Ariel Helwani here doing these because we do.
Sure. If you
Mike talking.
If you were interested in any of, I've turned it off. If you were interested in anything else Robert and I have done, we did a near 3-hour wrap up post discussion of Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. It took an hour just to get to the history of that fight. Then we talked about the fight, and then you and I talked for another hour about God only knows what. So near 3 hours on that show. We've done other alternative commentaries. We did, in fact, the last one I think we did. You and I only getting together now for the nonsense. We did Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. There you go. Francis Ngannou versus Jake Paul. Let's get that together. You know what? Even better. Anthony Joshua needs a win.
Look, here's what strikes me as very possible.
Mm-hmm.
Francis Ngannou versus Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Because Ngannou he just blew through some enormous human being on the PFL. I mean, a genuine giant guy stands like, huge man. Stands like 6'7", something like this. Enormous guy that Francis double-legged and then beat up on the ground.
A couple years ago, I was advocating for bring Anthony Joshua back to America. Let's get him in a stadium with Deontay Wilder. Do it in the South. So do it in the Georgia Dome or do it at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in New Orleans. Georgia, very, very African-American. Atlanta, very, very African-American city. New Orleans, very, very African-American. Let's get Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder in one of those two stadiums. And I think you have a happening. You have an event. If you can't get these two idiots who have now lost to everyone they fought except for Robert Helenius, then sure, feed Jake Paul to one of the two of them. Your witness.
Well, Jake Paul, I don't think wants the full-on heavyweight experience.
Mm-hmm.
And look, here's the real problem with that, Mark. No one's gonna license that fight.
What, Jake Paul versus Deontay Wilder, or
yeah, nobody's gonna sanction that. You couldn't.
Okay. So your thought is let's get Jake Paul. And look, Jake Paul's not fighting Canelo in May. If it happens a year from now when Canelo does his second fight for the
give
year.
Or take, yeah.
So it'll happen next September, which means he's got a little less than a year to at least get one or two more fights. Yeah, let's do Francis Ngannou versus Jake Paul.
I find that unlikely. I think if Ngannou's going to box again, he's not going to want to do the Jake Paul experience.
Like he needs a win too.
That's why if I'm Ngannou, I say give me Deontay Wilder because he's beyond washed.
I don't know, man. If Deontay Wilder remembers he's a boxer and hits you, he can still
Yeah,
knock the
but
mask out
Deontay
of
Wilder can't remember his name.
you. Great googly moogly.
Deontay Wilder got knocked out by Zhang Zhili.
Okay, so if we're not doing Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, which would be what I would advocate for, and we're not doing Jake Paul versus Francis Ngannou, and we're not, and you, besides Deontay Wilder, who else do you throw in there? What does Jake Paul do next? What does Jake Paul do between now and September?
I think we wait to see who the next round of cuts are from the UFC, first of all.
This is Jake Paul versus Stipe Miocic.
That depends on how his fight with John Jones goes tomorrow.
I'm insinuating it won't go well.
I'm kind of with you on that train of thought, by the way. But I mean, Stipe also, look, man, it would be probably a lot of money for Stipe, but he's so not like media. Like Stipe is like anti-promotion. And I don't mean that like he hates his promotion. I mean like Stipe only wants to do the part of combat sports that he really likes, and he tells the rest of it to piss off. Mm-hmm. And God bless him, man. I say that with admiration and respect. Do this interview. No. Come on, do the interview. No. We'll pay you a little bit extra to do the interview. Fine, but you're not going to like what happens. Well, that interview sucked. Told you.
I just got this comment here from Derpy Entertainment. Derpy, our good friend, sees a lot of our Damn You Hollywood podcasts and is a frequent commenter. He says that was dookie.
It was not a good boxing match. I don't know what you expected.
It was also not about the boxing. All right, let's start to wrap up here. So we got on that tangent because I happened to say the last alternative commentary we did was for the circus that was Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. We've done some actual boxing matches. I swear we have.
One or two.
We did this for a number of years before I became social, and we did a whole bunch of Canelo fights, the entire Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury trilogy. Plus, and maybe if you don't want to hear me and Robert, me and Pat have done a bunch of these. Daniel Lasby and I did a bunch of these. And then we go to the audio only days, and I picked up some guy off of TikTok to do this with. So there's a lot of alternative commentaries.
In fairness, the audio only days predate TikTok.
This is fair.
That's how long we've been doing this, people.
So if you're also interested in some of our other boxing content, Pat and I did a 2-year run documenting the history of heavyweight boxing. We did another 2-year run documenting the history of the Four Kings: Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns, and help me.
Wait. You forgot the guy who knocked out a horse? That's your
I know he
fucking
knocked out a horse. I just forgot his name.
Manos de Pietro. Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran.
Yes, Roberto Duran, who knocked out a horse. This is his full name. So we did that. And
his legal name.
And then for about a year, Pat and I just kind of did a variety of random duologies and trilogies, looking at, the great fights in the history of boxing, including, and not to be overlooked, the great nutshot fights between Riddick Bowe and Italian, Polish, European white guy.
Your favorite fight of all time. Guy who won the heavyweight title of the world by punching the other guy in the dick.
That is correct. So those are all under the history of boxing. Robert and I do Damn You Hollywood when we're not talking boxing every Monday. This week we'll be doing this Monday we're doing Red 1. We took a few weeks off to do other stuff. Robert and I and Jesse finished up our review of Ash vs. Evil Dead. That's now in the archives. Mick Wanamaker, Jesse, Robert Cooper, and I did a Metal Hammer of Doom jukebox where we looked at Slipknot. And then I played.
I imagine you had a good time with that.
Oh yeah, we also played Mick the Stand Back video as well as Land of a Thousand Wrestlers. It's fun to take practically a child, a 20-some-odd-year-old girl, and go, look at this stupidity, and get her reaction. That was the best part of it for me.
Here's the thing from my childhood, if you want to know how I turned out the way I did.
Hey, here's the thing. Watching Vince McMahon do Stand Back knowing he's a rapist is even funnier. I believe I said the phrase, that tuxedo outfit he's wearing in Stand Back looks a little rapey, and no one disagreed with me.
It was a time, like, he's doing the 80s version of the 70s get up. It's all like if you wanted to describe the fashion of the 80s doing the 70s at that point,
What
rapey would be the tagline.
what a butterfly collar on him. So like
Popped to the nines.
it's like he kind of flew out on like a spitfire. Anyway, the,
He did at least 2 lines of coke before he slid into frame for
considering
that.
that fucking dance he does, there's no way he didn't do an 8 ball on the way to the stage.
Oh no, like he's off stage, they start playing, he snorts up and then slides into frame.
Yeah. Also, the best part about Stand Back is Randy Savage gives no fuck about rhythm. He almost hit Brutus Beefcake twice with the goddamn trumpet.
Well, Randy has no, bless him, had no rhythm. I heard his rap album. No rhythm to be found in that man.
Yeah, that came up too. Um, that was very much like, "Hello, child. Let me show you all of these things." Oh God. Yep. All right. So that's me. And we talked about the UFC fight tomorrow. Robert will be. No, you're not covering that tomorrow because you
I
away.
I might be able to swing to be back in time for the main card, depending on when exactly it starts and how long my thing goes. I will write it up one way or the other. Even if I don't cover it live, I will do it after the fact because I'm a professional, damn it. So there will be a report for the UFC event this coming tomorrow at some point in the MMA Zone of 411mania.com. And yeah, so look out for that. That's a good-ish. It's a pretty good co-main event. It's a main event that we all just want to get over with. And the rest of that card is bleh.
Yeah. All right.
I wish I had a better descriptor.
Anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
Nope. Just you mentioned Damn You Hollywood tackling Red One, and we will be looking at the Rock's latest bomb.
Yeah.
It's a big bomb, and we will talk about how J.K. Simmons is kind of the man. Just gets into things, doesn't care, cashes the check,
Yep.
and who's the other loser in that movie? Oh yeah, Chris Evans.
I don't. I don't know when we're gonna do boxing again. I know I'll be home for Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. If people are around and are able to do it, we'll probably do an alternative commentary for that because I I no longer have I no longer have the issues in my life where I have to consider other people and whether or not I'll be busy with other people. I can now just do what I want. Yay, freedom! So we might. I'm
Some
not
people
promise.
call that narcissism.
Nah.
I joke because I know Mark is definitively not a narcissist.
So yeah, we might do the Alexander Usyk Tyson Fury 2 in December. We'll see. I can't plan these anymore because my life. But that is the one I'm looking at. The only other fight that I'm actually going to be watching in the very near future that I've made an attempt to like be home for. Tank Davis is fighting Lamont Roach on pay-per-view December 14th. But
That's probably going to go real bad for Roach.
yeah, I
I found a new fight that I want to see in boxing. I don't find those very often, but
mhm
he's making noise about it. But Keyshawn Davis against Tank Davis
mhm
is something that I'm starting to get around because Keyshawn Davis scored a brutal knockout a couple of weeks ago when he fought. He and both of his brothers were on that same card.
mhm.
Around that same time, Bam Rodriguez has been making waves. When he gets to Inoue, that's going to be something to watch.
Oh yeah, I would love to actually be awake for an Inoue fight. But all right, folks, my voice is starting to go, and I'm tired. I have been up forever. So I want to thank Robert for jumping. I would like to thank Robert for covering for my son tonight, who bailed out on me. So
Yeah, the number of people in your orbit who I am more dependable than is a little bit shocking.
that's why I keep you around. Anyway,
Well, it sure ain't my personality.
it really isn't. For Mr. Personality, I'm tired. Be well, be safe, and behave.